welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe so you won't miss out of any of my coming tutorial. Today we'll be working on this lunch bag. It's very nice size and you can change the fabric to fit any age. You can make it for kids and for an adult as well. So let's get started. So here's what you need. You need your pattern. I have it in the description below. I also will need a 29 centimeter zipper and binding tape, a wider binding tape so you can bind your lunch bag edges. As I'm showing you, this binding tape has two folded edge and it's good to bind with it our edges. So I cut all my pieces. And like you see, I cut it on the square pieces. So once you put them all together and you cut them all at once, it will make them all perfect. So I cut two pieces of the exterior and two pieces of the lining for the main piece of the pattern, as well as for the other piece. I cut one for the exterior and one for the lining. So now I'm cutting my pieces, the main piece. I'm just cutting around the pattern. I interface it, and the interfacing is a heavy interfacing, so that's I'm cutting around it. And now I have my two pieces. Also, I went ahead and I got my lining piece, and I decided to cut into two pieces, one for the bottom piece of the box and one for the top piece. Now after doing that, I got this top piece and I attach it to my main piece like you see, and we are going to sew around the hand holder or the holder of the lunch bag like you see. After you're done sewing around this, you want to open this hand or handle. You cut around, or you do some notches to give you a nice curve on the holder. Then you will need to iron it. Now we are going to work on our zipper. So I went ahead and I finished my zipper ends, and now I'm finding the center of my lining piece and finding the center of my zipper, and I'm attaching this I'm attaching the zipper to my lining piece. I also made some notches to allow the zipper to ease with me in the curves. Once you sew the first part, then do the same thing for the second part. And now I attach also the lining piece to the zipper as sandwich. I sandwich the zipper between the lining piece. Now we are going to attach the bottom piece of our bag. So I'm finding the center of the bottom piece and finding the center of my bag, and I'm attaching them together. I went ahead and I sew it, and now as you can see, one side is attached. We're gonna do the same exact thing to the other side. going to do the same thing for the lining. I find the center of my bottom piece and the center of my bag and attach them together. So before I do this, I forgot to curve my lining piece uh, um, uh, as for this pattern. So I went ahead and I cut my curves, and now I'm attaching the bottom piece. And I went ahead to my sewing machine and I sew it. Now once we done that side, we're gonna work on the other side the same way. We're gonna attach the center to the center, pin it or clip it around, and go to your sewing machine and sew around. So now we have done both sides, the lining and the outer fabric. I'm turning my bag inside out and making sure everything is so in place and booking my corners. And now I'm going to pin or clip the handles just to keep them in place and sew them around before adding the binding tape. Now I am going to attach the binding tape to the edges. I'm opening the binding tape at the edge that was folded and attaching that to my bag edge and pin it or clip it all around. Once you've done this, you go ahead to your sewing machine and sew it. Now we are going to complete our binding tape, so we are folding it again onto the raw edges and clip it or pin it in place and go to your sewing machine and sew in the very edge of the binding tape. we completed our project. I hope you liked this tutorial. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you would like to. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. Share it, and thanks for watching, and see you next time.